Welcome everybody. In this video series I want to provide you with a complete repertoire against the Sicilian from black side. And more specifically in this DVD we're going to refute the move d6. And it's a bit exaggerated to say to refute, but nevertheless I claim that white in almost all the lines can get an advantage after bishop b5 check. So, first of all, what are black's main options here? One of them is knight c6 and white castles short, and black plays bishop d7 in order to chase the bishop away after a6. White goes rook e1, and after a6 he goes back home with bishop f1. At some point black will play bishop g4, h3, and the bishop will be swapped on f3, queen takes f3. And black lost one of his bishops, and white will take profit from that. We will see how play develops. Instead of knight c6, black can also play bishop d7. And after bishop takes d7, black is at crossroads. He can take back the bishop with the knight. And I found some interesting new ideas in the following lines. But also black can take back the bishop with the queen. And after queen takes d7, we first investigate the possibility of short castling. And black has two possibilities. First of all, knight c6 is maybe not the most accurate move because of c3, knight f6. White has the extra option of d4, and after knight takes e4, white can play d5. And in this gambit, white lost the pawn, but of course he has a lot of compensation as his king is already on g1 and the black king is quite exposed on e8. So subsequently rook e1 can follow and white will win back the pawn. However, after queen takes d7 short castling, black has a much better option, and black can play knight f6. And the point is that white has to defend the pawn on e4 and can't play c3 and d4 right away. So first of all, white can push the pawn forward. We have a quick look at this line, knight takes e5. In the instructive games section you will see a game from Hikaru Nakamura against Gelfand. So white plays b3, places his bishop on b2, knights to c4 and c3, and then afterwards a4, a5. And white finally wins the game, gets a very small advantage. However, black should be able to equalize, but it's worth a try in practice. The main idea of black after knight f6 is that white has to play rook e1 or queen e2 in order to defend the pawn, and only now black plays knight c6. After c3, the idea behind black's play is e6, d4, c takes d4, c takes d4, d5, e5. Duda played against Nishpiano in a convincing way knight g8, and he won the game in a very nice style. But knight e4 is also very playable, and here lies the clue, because now white can't play knight e1. The rook occupies this square, and therefore black has enough time to for example play bishop e7, f6, and if white plays something like rook e2, which can't be recommended, then black always has the option of f6, and after f3 knight g5. And of course when the rook is not on e1, black doesn't force rook e1, then white immediately plays knight e1 and f3, and the knight on e4 is in trouble, and white has a nice advantage. So knight f6 is worth a try. You could try e5 once. You could try rook e1 in practice, and in instructive game section we've seen that, for example, play can go on with this, c6, c3. There's an alternative in d3. White can go knight bd2. The Chinese grandmaster Bu plays this once. Knight goes to g3, and then only then, when the knight is on g3, he plays d4. So there are all kind of small lines and alternatives which I show. However, my recommendation after queen takes d7 is not short castling, but c4. And you're getting kind of a hedgehog structure. White is grabbing a lot of space. And so after knight c6, knight c3, g6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop g7, bishop e3, knight f6, f3. There are a lot of sidelines, but short castling is the main line, then short castling. And here there are 4 possibilities, and I've divided all these lines in 4 separate files, 4 separate main lines. Black can play, for example, e6 with an immediate d5, or he plays rook fc8. He can play rook ac8, and he can play as well a6. But in all the lines I found an advantage for white. That leaves us with, in this position, with knight d7. And this is a very popular line nowadays, knight d7. The idea is that after short castling a6, and the bishop can't move back to f1 as the rook is there, so white has to go somewhere. And what is the appropriate square for the bishop? Carlsen came up with a very interesting idea. Bishop d3. It was played before, but it became very popular once Carlsen played this in 2014. Bishop d3. It looks a bit like a bad place for the bishop, d3. But the idea is quite sound. After knight f6, rook e1, black can play first of all e6, and then after c3, that's white's idea, he will play bishop c2 and d4. Black will play b5, bishop c2 and c4. And after d4, he can take the pawn en passant. Queen takes d3, knight c5, queen e2, bishop b7. Black's position might seem okay after b takes a4, but e5 is very concrete and leads to very sharp positions. So e6 is a very popular line among the black players. Another attempt is b5. Now comes the point. c4 is a very interesting try here. After b takes c4, bishop takes c4, knight b6, white players have tried a couple of moves, but d3 appears to be the best move, and white gets a small advantage. After c4, the black players also have tried rook b8, and g5 is quite an interesting idea, because after knight g5 there follows knight e5, bishop f1, b takes c4. It looks like that black's position is fine, but white comes with this wonderful move, d4. After c takes d3, now white plays f4. And for example, bishop g4, we go to d2. The knight has to move. We can take on d3, and the point is that black king is stuck in the center, and he can't find a safe place on g8 or g8 or h8 because he's missing the pawn on g6 or g7. White has very good attacking chances. I'd also like to refer you to 2 instructive games in this line, and you can find them in the instructive games section. So lot of possibilities for black after bishop b5 check, but all these lines, they are pretty easy to play for white, and I hope you will have a lot of fun and getting a good game by playing bishop b5 in these Moscow variations.